Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with Tenpai. I think this is the first time we've actually covered Tenpai since the new pack came out. We're on Fiendsmith Tenpai. I actually did really want to try Sky Striker Tenpai, but I do think you need, I don't know about need, but I do think it is probably optimal to play Ultimate Slayers in that deck, and I really don't want to craft those, so I'm not going to. So instead, we're playing Fiendsmith Tenpai. Tenpai is one of many decks that are supported by Fiendsmith. Namely, it is a fire deck. So as I've mentioned before, particularly when we covered Rescue Ace the other day, literally any deck centered around the fire attribute can make use of the Fiendsmith engine as long as Beatrice is legal. This is, of course, because of the Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames, and here it is no different. So the idea is that if you open Engraver, of course, you can go into the line where you go into Sequence to make Lacrima, bring back Engraver, overlay for Beatrice, dump like Pydra, for example, and then you can overlay into, then you can link rather into Promethean Princess, bring back Pydra, bada boom, bada bing, you got full Tenpai combo. And I do think that this is definitely one of the more successful versions of this deck. I think that's very debatable, though. Tenpai is in a kind of a weird spot right now where, like, it's not bad. When I say weird, I don't mean it's in a bad spot. I kind of mean that, like, it's in a spot where you can play Tenpai a number of different ways, and they're, like, all kind of equally feasible. You could just continue to play Tenpai straight up, pure, with just a bunch of board breakers and hand traps, and that style of build, you might want the Gold Sark and Blaster for a little bit more consistency. You could play Fiendsmith, like we're doing here, to add that consistency, or as mentioned before, and as we've shown in a previous viewer special, you can play Sky Striker Tenpai as well. And it's kind of a Sprite situation where it's like, none of these builds are none of them are obviously better than the others. It's more just like that they have their own pros and cons. I kind of think Fiendsmith Tenpai is the best one, personally, because you get the pros of having more consistency without the cons of having to play bricks like Gold Sark and well, I guess Blaster's mainly the brick, right? Gold Sark you do actually want to draw. Although if you draw Blaster, then Gold Sark becomes a brick. Also, if you use the first Gold Sark, the second one becomes a brick. I'm just really not a big fan of that mini engine, personally. I don't think it's horrible, but I would rather do something like this, I think, to add that consistency buff. Also played around with the hand traps a little bit. Made room for Droll and Lockbirds. I continue to think that this card is just phenomenal. Even if you're playing a deck that gets hurt by Droll and Lockbird, like you can't use it during your turn, I think that Droll is so good against the best decks of the meta that you just play it anyway and just use it on your opponent's turn. Like, if we get hit with Maxi or Fuelos, I guess it kind of depends on the hand, but like, Droll is not really feasible for Tenpai, just because even if you add off Pydra, you're going to add either Sangen Summoning or Sangen Kaiman, both of which also add. I think you would have to open Shundra to not really be affected by Droll, which of course, this card's at 1, so that's not really something you can reliably count on, right? Yeah, the extra deck, we mainly just made room for all of the Tenpai stuff, taking out a lot of the filler from the, or not Tenpai, the Fiendsmith stuff, taking a lot out of the filler of the Tenpai extra deck. Not that stuff like Meteor Burst Dragon and Samurai Destroyer and Baron is like inherently bad. It's just, it is kind of filler though, you don't super need it. I will say, of decks that need to make space for Fiendsmith's engine, Tenpai is one of the more accommodating decks, right? That is often the biggest drawback to playing Fiendsmith in your deck, is that you don't have a lot of extra deck room for other stuff, but again, not really experiencing that as much here. Otherwise, it's still just pretty much straight up Tenpai, and I don't really know that there's anything else I need to explain about the build here. So in that case, why don't we just start breaking it down card by card, and then we'll look at this gameplay. We're on 1 Fabled Lurie, 3 Effect Veiler, 2 Droll and Lockbird, 2 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Tenpai Dragon Pydra, 1 Tenpai Dragon Fadra, 2 Tenpai Dragon Genroku, 1 Tenpai Dragon Shundra, 3 Molcharmy Fuelos, 1 Bestial Magnum Hut, 1 Bestial Druid Swarm, 2 Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Fiendsmith's Tract, 1 Sangen Summoning, 3 Forbidden Droplet, 2 Sangen Kaiman, and finally 3 Infinite Impermanents, and that'll do it for our main deck. For the extra, we're on 1 Fiendsmith's Lacrima, 1 Fiendsmith's Desiree, 1 Black Rose Dragon, 2 Sangenpai Bident Dragon, 1 Trident Dragon, 1 Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon, 1 Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, 1 Fiendsmith's Requiem, 1 Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, 1 Hita, the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven, 1 Fiendsmith Sequence, and finally, 1 Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames. There's our list. Let's check out these games. Alright, our first opponent's going to be on Fiendsmith Yubel. I'm a little surprised I haven't seen this deck around more. I guess everyone's just on Snake Eye, right? You gotta figure that a lot of people who are playing Yubel were doing so because it's a highly competitive deck, so I guess it makes sense that those players would move towards a more competitive deck. But, of course, definitely don't underestimate Fiendsmith Yubel just because Fiendsmith doesn't mean a Snake Eye exists. I think it is still definitely a tier 1 deck. Alright, so Beckoning Beast, adding Chaos Summoning Beast here, going for the Chaos Summoning Beast. You'll note that I did not use my Effect Veiler at all there. The main reason I didn't want to Veiler Beckoning Beast is because if my opponent had D-Lotus in hand, then they could just simply use Opening to revive the Beckoning Beast and then summon out D-Lotus. So I'd rather use Veiler for later in the combo line after they've used up more of their resources. I will max C once these 2 monsters are on the field, because now they either have to negate the C or are committed to either leaving these in play or Link Summoning. They do have an Ash Blossom, so no max C for us, but as you can see, we have plenty of other hand traps here. One thing I'm definitely going to want to do is resolve this Magnum Hut, that way I can search for Pydra during the end phase. Alright, they're going to link their 2 monsters into Moon of Closed Heaven. This is perfectly fine with me, because it means they'll need to use their Opening in order to go into Fiendsmith plays, which we know we can stop with stuff like Veiler. I'm not even going to Ash the Requiem here, because I want them to go into more Fiendsmith stuff. Alright, here they're going to bring back the Chaos Summoning Beast. I'm actually going to activate Magnum Hut now, because they discarded Yubel Terror Incarnate. I want to use Magnum Hut during this kind of open moment. Of course, my toggle is set to on here. I want to use the Magnum Hut in this open moment when I'm past priority and get their Yubel monster out of the graveyard, so that way they don't summon Phantom of Yubel and negate either Magnum Hut or one of my other hand traps. I definitely do not want that to happen. Also, again, we want to resolve Magnum Hut at some point, so that way we can search Pydra. They can use Requiem to blow up the Magnum Hut here. I don't care about this at all, so I'm not going to bother using a Veiler. I'm going to save the Veiler for this, Fiendsmith Sequence. As I go to activate this, we're going to negate. And now they cannot Fusion Summon. So at this point, they do need an extender in order... Oh, no, they don't, because they have Fiendsmith's Engraver. Right. And then they can link these 2 into Yama, which I think they're about to do anyway. Oh yeah, they tried to activate the Equip effect there. I don't really know why. They looked out that it got negated, but yeah, they're going to go for Yama. And then we'll simply Veiler that. I'm going to use Veiler and not Ash Blossom on it, because Veiler can only be used on my opponent's turn, so obviously it's better to use it now. Plus, if they have Maxi or Fuelos, then I can save my Ash Blossom and use it against that. Or if they have another extender here. Like if they try to go Nightmare Pain or something, I could Ash Blossom that, right? But nope, they're just going to pass. End of phase will add Pydra from deck to hand. Alright, going into our turn, we got very, very lucky in drawing Shundra here, because we go to normal summon Pydra. Our opponent actually does have the Veiler for it as one of their last 2 cards. But don't mind me, I'm just the luckiest player on the planet. Now, granted, there are many other cards I could have top decked, or at least a couple of other ones. Sangen Kaiman, Sangen Summoning, I think would have been the main 2, but I won't deny I got lucky. So, I'll Shundra for again Roku, and then I can use Fadra to bring back the Pydra that got destroyed. We can attack with Pydra again. I should have attacked with Shundra as well before activating Pydra's effect, technically, because there was no damage and the monsters wouldn't be destroyed by battle at that point. There's really no drawback to it there, so... Okay, that is going to do it for this first game. Why don't we go on into the next one? Alright, our next opponent is going to be on Fiendsmith Azamina Snake Eye. The big bad of the format. Alright, let's see what we got here. Of course, naturally, we're going to be going second again. I think we lost this coin flip anyway, it looks like. So we got that draw on Lockbird, which I was talking about being really important earlier. And our opponent's actually playing a cash engine. And this is one of the reasons why I really don't like playing a cash Tierra package in this deck, is that it just procs the draw on Lockbird really, really easily. Really, really early, too, as you're seeing here, right? So another reason I don't really like it is I don't really think the deck has enough room for it, but that's a whole other issue. Anyway, they'll go activate Deception, then send it for Yubel Star. They do still want to activate the Deception first anyway, that way they can get the end phase graveyard effect. But then Yubel Star gets to set, which does circumvent the draw. And as you can see, our opponent does have plays through the draw. They're going to normal summon Ash and send it off with the field spell. You might wonder why I didn't use my Ash Blossom in response to this, because here's what I'm thinking, right? They're either going to summon Poplar, which they did, and it doesn't do anything, or they summon Oak, activate Oak effects, bring back Ash, then they tried to use Oak effects to summon from deck, which I know will be Flamberge. That I would use the Ash Blossom on. If they pulled out Flamberge off the Ash effect here, that would be mostly fine with me, because then they wouldn't have 2 level 1 fires to bring back. Also, I could simply use Ash Blossom on the OSS, which in this situation, I'm going to get to do anyway. Okay, they go Link Rebo and then put Poplar in the spell trap before activating the OSS. Sending off the Link Rebo instead of the Poplar. I was a little confused about that, but we're going to use Ash Blossom, of course, on the OSS. That'll stop them from accessing Oak and going into the rest of their combo line. They get to extra deck rip, but they end up taking one of my 2 Bident Dragons, which I'm like, that's totally fine. If they had taken the level 10, that would have been a slight bit more of an issue, but really not even that much more of one, to be fair. Alright, setting a spell trap and then the Deception before passing back over to me. Drawing for turn, finding Feather Duster. We're definitely going to lead with that here to get rid of that extra back row, which ends up being Imperm, so I'm very glad I hit that. Poplar gets to put Ash in the spell trap. I don't care at all about this. Actually, that was a benefit to me because now I can use triple attack and steal the Unicorn, which I'm going to need with a hand like this, right? Because now I can go normal summon Fabled Lurie into Requiem. Requiem F, Tribute, in order to summon the Engraver. And normally, I wouldn't have an extra body. Because we used triple attack and stole their Unicorn, we avoid the extra deck rip and we can use it in order to make Sequence. Now we activate Sequence F in order to bring out the Fiendsmith's Lacrima. We can then use Lacrima effect in order to bring back the Engraver. And then we would overlay into Beatrice and dump Hydra. And then from there, we could simply go into Promethean Princess, bring back Hydra, Hydra F, add... In this case, I'd probably add... Actually, I don't know if they had cards in hand or not. If they had cards in hand, I'd probably just grab Sangen, Kaiman, and move to battle phase. If they didn't have any cards in hand, we could definitely go Sangen summoning effects to add Shundra, send the Fadra in hand, to then later bring back off the Bident, which the Fadra would then be able to revive something. So I think even in the scenario in which they sniped our Sangenpai Bident Dragon, I think we would definitely still just have lethal here. Well, yeah, no, we would absolutely have lethal here, right? Because we can just battle over the Yubel Star with the Bident, and then we still have enough damage. Yeah, so. All right. There is that game. We still have one last one to finish off with. Let's go into our final duel. And our final opponent's going to be on Fiendsmith Tearlaments with a Light Sworn engine in the deck as well. Now, for this last game, I made a little bit of an oopsie that I'm sure some people can relate to. You might have noticed, and I'll show this again here. Yeah, I won the coin flip and selected going first. You know, if you're not like a Tenpai main, I figure this is probably something you've done before, where your instinct kicks in to be like, oh, I won the coin flip, I get to go first. And then you remember, of course, naturally the second it's too late. Oh yeah, I'm playing a deck that is very much wanting to go second. So we'll have to make it work here. I'm still going to go for plays on turn 1, even though I have this Lightning Storm in hand. Because maybe, if nothing else, I can bait out some hand traps from my opponent, right? I'm going to go Engraver into track discard Lurie. My opponent doesn't seem to have anything here, which is weirdly, in this one scenario, a bit of a shame, because if I was playing like any other Fiendsmith deck, this would just be like full combo. But in this case, I'm just gonna have to kind of awkwardly go for like Desiree here, probably. Because I don't really have a good, like, I don't have High Caesar or Lars to go into as far as rank 6 goes, so. And here I'm still thinking, like, maybe they have, like, a nib or something I can bait, anything, but no. Not really, unfortunately. Again, the only scenario would probably be unfortunate that your opponent doesn't have a hand trap. I'm actually going to normal summon Droll and Lockbird and then go into SP Little Knight. Honestly, looking back, I probably shouldn't have done that. I think Droll is impactful against most decks as opposed to something like Little Knight. But I also want to get, I think I was a little bit greedy. I want to get maximum value out of my board. But I think Droll is better into your opponent's turn than Little Knight in most scenarios. So I don't think I should have done that. Now here, our opponent's playing Tear, which is actually a deck where we'd kind of rather have the Little Knight than Droll. But it's one of the few examples in this meta. Well, I don't know about few overall, but most meta decks you'd rather have the Droll. And no point using Little Knight here. If they didn't mill Tear Cash, then I might have, but I might have tried to use Little Knight on the Rhino Heart and force them to fuse something in hand or misfuse, like not be able to use a summon Kikkalos there. Yeah, we'll use Desiree to negate the Kikkalos, which actually did more to stop them than I thought it was going to. They are going into the SP Little Knight here with the Kikkalos plus Rhino Heart. I really wasn't expecting that, honestly. I thought that you would still have more plays, but no, they're just passing right back over to me here, which is very nice. So, alright, we got the Sangen summoning. I can just discard the Lightning Storm for that. And they actually concede right there? That was even earlier than I remembered. I mean, that's the thing with Tenpai, right? Like, you're never really going to get to execute the full combo. Usually people are going to concede once they realize you have it. Not that I'm complaining, don't get me wrong. Don't mistake what I'm saying for a complaint about winning. But it is something that, like, there has been at least one scenario I can think of where my opponent didn't concede, and I had, like, a half a moment where I was like, wait, what do I have to do again? Because it had been like that long, so I'd actually like attacked for lethal with Tenpai, because everybody just concedes. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna go ahead and do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed that. Yeah. That's all I got for you for this one. Thanks, as usual, for watching all the way till the end. Those of you who watch all the way to the end are right up with there, along with YouTube members and Patreon subscribers, as like some of the people who support the channel the most. Watching to the end is a great way to do that, so thank you. I really appreciate that. But, yeah, that'll do it. Let's move on now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.